What's going on, folks? Painless. Many times you've heard me discuss black and brown unity, and my nearest point of reference when I did the video that was flagged last week or so about the whole situation with families being torn apart at the border, how I was indifferent to it. Not that I didn't care, but that I didn't care, indifferent. Like I have no stance. It's like, oh, okay, kind of position. Um, I, living out here in the San Antonio area, and I don't go looking for racism. Or to be picked on or anything of that sort, but I can quickly spot it. And I haven't experienced yet, or I haven't experienced any type of racism from any Hispanics here. I guess because I pretty much keep to myself. And where I live, there aren't that many Hispanics where I live. I don't live in the metro area of San Antonio. Um, but so I can't really speak on it. But the idea of brown and black unity, it's a farce. It's shouldn't it, any. I even say this with other minority groups. I've spoken about my time in Hawaii, and those you had a lot of ignorant Hawaiians over there. I call them island rednecks. You really do. Um, Had some good ones, but the overall idea of piecing up with a group of people for whatever reason that you think that the white man is doing to you is not my cup of tea. Because they are, especially in Hawaii, I found more commonality with white people in Hawaii than a lot of the local people there. And I spent years over there, you know, and they had that localism over in Hawaii that that's just how it was. If you weren't local, yeah, a lot of locals, if you weren't local, you weren't shit. And some of you all have been to Hawaii who have been spent some time there, stationed there, lived there for an extensive part of time. Um, you can attest to this. That if you weren't local, you weren't, especially being black, you always assumed you're if you're black, you'll never be local because they'll just. And all the time that I spent there, um, local, I don't look local, and I always ask that question: well, what's a local? It was because it was always assumed that, and even I had a beard. I didn't look like I was in the military. I had a full beard, and I just, I keep myself up, but most military black men over there don't have full beards. I was obviously looked like I wasn't in the military, and I still wasn't considered. I, not it's not that somebody said you aren't local. It was always assumed that because obviously you can remove the fact that I'm if I was in the military, you can remove that out of the equation because of my full beard. So, I mean, and I would go to spots to where only locals would go, so you can X out that I'm a tourist. You can take that out the equation. But I was never considered local. So, and there's a racial component, and no one would say it, but that's what it was. If you weren't an islander or an Asian or something like that, you're not considered local. White depends. But black, no. It's always assumed. And with that type of thinking, you're to a lot of locals, you're automatically excluded. There's a lot of racism and localism and prejudice in Hawaii. I don't care to ever go back to Hawaii again. I could care less about Hawaii. But yeah, this lady, this would happen when you see what happens is when you get around these white liberals and you begin to do those things that they do, you know, like this lady, Therese Patrice Okomu or something like that. This is the lady that ran up on the Statue of Liberty and protested because of this whole situation with children being separated by their parents who are illegally entering this country. And I just want to, somebody made a comment on my last video. And it was spot on. That what happens is you have not necessarily an abundance of people coming into this country illegally. A lot of people in this country are here illegal. They came through J-1 visas, school visas, things of that nature. Because I used to work in a college in the admissions office, and we would do those J-1 visas, those school visas, especially kids to China and Taiwan. They would come here on those school visas, and then they would do like a semester or two, then they vanish. So a lot of people come through here on work visas, and they just get ghosted. That's what you have a lot of. And that's primarily from a lot of European, a lot of Asian, a lot of Chinese. And it's kind of unfortunate that the Hispanic is the face of illegal immigration, when in actuality you have a lot of Asians, Chinese, Japanese, all those Asian countries. I would say they should be the poster child of illegal immigration. Especially from China. The mugs come here by the droves. That's something that's not talked about. Them Koreans and Taiwanese and all them people from over there, they should be the poster childs. But so that was a good comment that stuck out. But yeah, this lady, this when you get corrupted by the liberals, these, what was it called, rise and resist. This lady, when you're walking, I've talked about Occupy Wall Street. What was that shit, maybe 5-7 years ago? They out there smoking pot and having sex. Probably didn't have crap going on anyway. And that was it. They got nothing accomplished. Most of these young white kids come from well-to-do, established families anyway. They just screwed up. They screwed up the cog. They were the bad cog in the wheel, and it got on this trip. Screw the system. Screw the. They're the black sheep of their well-to-do white families. And they, squandered away trust fund, inheritance, tricked that off with their family. Now they're, bitching and complaining about the system and, 1% and all this. Liberals, they're just a bunch of whiners. And this lady, and what's so ironic about her? She's from the Congo. I mean, this place has disease problems. um, uh, human rights problems, but she chose this to get her 15 minutes of fame. I mean, and I've seen people say it, why didn't she go and fight for her brethren over there in the Congo? And it makes perfectly good sense. But, there's another portion, her trying to do what these white liberals do and didn't work out for her. And then I've read a little of her past. She's, put in type of complaints, and I guess it's the city of New York. Um, she just wants attention. That's all this is. And the fact that I keep saying to people, man, especially black folks, stop trying to get a coalition with non-white people just because they aren't white. Stop doing that. Stop trying just because you're the only black person in the room and you see an Asian, like y'all gonna automatically have some type of relationship because you guys are the only two non-white people in the room. Most of the times that white person is trying to be that Asian or Hispanic, is trying to get in the same echelons as those white people. They're not going to deal with your ass if you black. And I've talked about people that come to America. The overall representation of black people around the world is not a positive image. They're not, just like with dating. These women, especially these Filipino women, they're not coming over here to date a black guy. That's dating down for them. These Mexican and Guatemalan women, they're not trying to deal with, most people that come here, these immigrants and stuff, they end up, in Hawaii, there's a lot of Polynesian Samoans and Tongans and all them, and there's a lot in California. And sometimes of those Polynesians, they get that wild hair up their ass like they better than black folks. And I said, you know what? You can roll in Inglewood, Compton, and you see islanders down there living in the projects with black folks. They're not living in they're not living up in, they're not living in Brentwood with white folks. Them damn islanders, Samoans, they right down in Long Beach, and some of y'all from SoCal they right down there in Long Beach, Compton, trying to be, being Crips and Bloods too, right there with black folks. And I tell her, I said, look, you come here, usually those, Polynesians, they come here because of, following some church, Mormons or whatever, something like that. And, those white missionaries get over there and start preaching their racist ass religion, about black people being lesser than everybody. And they start coming over here thinking they better. And it's not just those groups neither. It's other groups. Hispanics too. Filipinos, which Filipinos are considered the NIGGERs, S's of Asia, and thinking they better too. But you see black folks right in their face trying to amass and create some type of imaginary alliance like them people are going to ride with you. If they ain't keeping to themselves, this is what I noticed about a lot of minorities, not black. If they're not hanging with themselves, they're with a bunch of white people, kissing their asses, trying to be white and accepted. That's what you usually see. Straight off the boat, straight trying to be something that they're not. White is white, trying to be white and be in white clubs and schools and communities, that's the goal. of these people that come here. And by default, us as black people, we're being told they're being told to stay away from us. White is the goal when people come over here. And the fact that this female from Congo is standing up for a group of people who probably, has racial images. Mexico, man, those dark-skinned people, they're not treated right. They're not. I got all these Spanish channels, Telemundo and all this stuff. And when you see all these people on here doing the news in Spanish, and the face of Spanish speaking people, they were European. They look white. They don't look like these Mexicans I see down here in San Antonio, tanned out and dark, short. These are like tall European looking Spaniards. And there is a difference. There is a difference. So, I resent that she would do that. I just can't envision a Hispanic woman doing something like that if the roles were reversed. Because they're not taught to do that. In America, black folks are taught to sympathize with everybody, but nobody sympathizes with us. But see, the thing with me is, I'm not going to bitch and whine and complain because first off, I expect it. Secondly, I don't need nobody fighting my battles. Like I talked about La Raza and all these pro-Spanish Chicano organizations, they don't talk anything about black folks and what black folks. But I can get up and turn on Farrakhan and all these other supposed black talking heads, and they talking about with our brown brothers and our yellow brothers, we gotta come. You don't hear that in La Raza. You don't hear that in these Filipino community activist groups or Japanese. They ain't even thinking about black folks. They're focused on their people. They are probably indifferent to the situation of black folks. The same way I'm indifferent to those kids being separated at the borders in the southern portion of the United States. And that's how you should be too. It doesn't make you a mean, bad person, or he doesn't care about these kids. No, I didn't say that. I just said that I'm indifferent to it. I don't care, and I have no position on it. In layman's terms, I have no stance on what's going on down there. The only reason I'm mentioning it is for all intents and purposes for this video. So, for her to do that, man, then you have these people saying black women have been at the forefront of civil rights and all this jazz, and black women have always taken, well, that's your bad for doing that. And what are you getting now? Slammed in hair shops and nail shops by Chinese and Vietnamese people that you depend on. I think it's so sad that these women go in these stores to buy. Now, imagine this, and this happens in real life. It's not imagine because it's happening, but I think it's so sad. You're going into a store, black woman to buy hair from a Korean or Vietnamese, and he or she is selling you hair that came off the woman, that came off the head of an East Indian woman. I want you to listen to that and think how demented and backwards that is. And then getting beat up, slammed around, cussed out for it. Because you're trying to get that hair that's sold by Vietnamese who bought it from the head of an East Indian woman. Think about that. Think about that. There's something royally wrong with that picture. Royally wrong. But black women do it every day. Every day. Getting accosted, getting harassed. It's crazy, man. Black folks is wild, man. But I'm gonna cut this video. It's getting late. Well, it's not really late. I'm about to mess around, watching TV, get ready to go to JLB tomorrow, kick back, and I'm out. Peace.